All right, guys. Well, welcome to our Sunday night call. My name is Casey, and I am going to be your host. And we also have Shanna, that so many of you guys know, who's just super passionate about moms and kids and building this business. And I just want to take a moment too. There's so many celebrations to go on, but I know last night Missy Turek, she hit Crystal Director, something that she had been shooting for. See her up till 2 a.m. at night, working a full-time family, a mom, everything, but just going for it and shot for it. And so many PIBs coming through and everything that's taken place. So way to go, Missy. That was super, super exciting to see you do that. And tonight, though, we have a super special guest, so I don't want to take any more of time than really bringing her on. And so many of us know Andrea Henkart. We've heard her name. We have been blessed enough to be on her team, really, the power of how geometric progression works and just over time with people just coming into your life. And so I'm just going to tell you guys a quick little bit about Andrea. And I'm going to ask her some questions that pertain to the business side a little bit. And then Shannon's going to come and really from a mom perspective and really ask her some questions too, so we can just utilize all her wealth of knowledge. But she is millionaire number 39 in the company. And you guys, she is an international motivational trainer. If you guys have not heard her speak, you're definitely missing out. So definitely check out when she speaks, because she moves the room. She's a certified nutritional counselor with over 35 years of experience. She's a best-selling author. She's a recognized authority on family health. She has 2 teaching credentials from UCLA and a master's degree in psychology. She's an author of 9 books. She's been featured on hundreds of radio, TV shows internationally, including Oprah. So that's pretty awesome. She was personally enrolled in 2002 by Dr. John Gray. If you all heard the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And that's who introduced her. And she's just been awarded numerous awards throughout Isagenix, guys. Women of Isagenix Award, Outstanding Product Contribution Award, Shooting Star Award, Spirit of Isagenix, and again, millionaire number 39. And she's joined the Field Advisory Board with Isagenix for a couple of years in a row. She's been the head chair of the Millionaire Panel. You guys, she is formerly known as the resident family expert in Isagenix. And for those of you who have not read her book, Isagenix for Healthy Moms and Kids, I highly encourage that. It's even been endorsed by Jack Canfield. We can all know him as author Chicken Soup for the Soul, along with Dr. John Gray and Kathy Coover. And so, I just am going to make sure that you're unmuted, Andrea. And there you are. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us, Andrea.
It's my pleasure. It's like you guys are my family or my team.
It is, isn't it? And we got to meet at an event, and I just have followed you, and she probably doesn't remember, but I used to reach out to her to do some 3-way calls. I'm sure she does many 3-way calls with a lot of people. So I got to listen and learn and just always have a heart of service. And I know that you're preparing for a one-way trip to Europe. I don't know that you have your on your way back ticket, and you're leaving here shortly. So I know time is precious, but you've taken this time out to join us. So I would just love for you to kind of share your story. I know Dr. John Gray introduced you to Isagenix, but if you could just share your story with everybody.
I'm happy to do that. And again, thank you guys for inviting me on. I am, as Casey said, I'm an author and motivational trainer. I wasn't looking for a product, and I wasn't looking for, another source of income or anything like that. Being a nutritional counselor for 35 years, I've kind of seen it a lot, not all, but a lot. And I always thought that eating well and exercising was the way to go, and we didn't need anything else. And meanwhile, I wasn't healthy. I was way overweight. I was a size 2 or 3X. For any of you ladies that know what that is, it's like a sheet, a tent. Really uncomfortable in my body, had a lot of issues, and nobody could figure out what was wrong. And John Gray, my kid's godfather, actually introduced me to this in May 2002. And believe it or not, I said no to him. I was not interested in this. And he leaned over and he goes, Andrea, it's network marketing. And I said, what? You're selling products out of the trunk of your car and you're a multi-gazillionaire? What is wrong with you? And he said, no, this company is completely different. It's not set up like that. Met the owners, et cetera, it's different. And I still said, John, I'm not interested. Now he's my kid's godfather. I trust him with everything. And my husband got started in July. So July 4th will be our 15th year anniversary coming up here. And he said yes to John. And my kids used it. And my husband at the time had great results. His weight loss and better sleep and better energy and his memory and all of that was just better. Our kids never had a weight issue. For them, it was just better mental clarity. My daughter kept off the college 15. For my son, who was diagnosed with a severe learning challenge, I didn't want to give him meds, and we gave him Isagenix because I didn't think he needed the meds, which he didn't. I gave him just better nutrition, and he not only did he graduate top in his high school class, he went on to go to a 4-year college, which we never thought was possible, graduated in 4 years. Both my kids travel around the world. My son was scouted by Google and Apple and turned them both down and said, no, I'm going to live on a beach in Thailand instead. So my kids are really, they're products of what I've brought them up to be and using. They're still using products. I still ship 8 to 10 pounds to Thailand every few months for my son. He won't live without it. So with that said, everything was great. We became the 39th millionaires, never planned on it because back in those days, we weren't focused on business. We didn't have, when we first started, there were no labels on the bottles. There were no product back office. There was no double PIBs. There was none of this stuff that we have now. It was just straight commission checks, and that was kind of it, and going by the seat of our pants. And so it was a miracle that we got into that millionaire club, not even trying. We weren't trying for it. And things were going well. And some of you know my story. About 5.5 years ago, I was married for 30 years and my husband was killed in a plane crash. And life stopped for me at the time. And I had to reflect on what I wanted next and whether I was going to survive or not. And one of the things I realized in that process was money was not an issue. My team, you guys, bless your hearts, my team was moving without me, not even knowing what was happening in my life, because people were using the product, having great results, and sharing with other people, which is all we do, right? But for me, sitting on my couch, deciding whether to live or die, I had money coming in, so I didn't have to sell my house. I didn't have to get a job. I didn't have to worry about that. And after about a year of really getting myself back to who I am, I realized that my platform has been children for all these years, Casey, but you know what? Women need to know, and men too, but women, we depend on oftentimes, our husband's income or second income of a partner. And sometimes stuff happens in life that we don't expect and we don't even think will ever happen to us. And when life throws us a curveball, we need good life insurance. We need good health insurance. And I got to tell you something, after 15 years, my belief is that Isagenix gives us that better than anything else available to us on the planet. And that from my personal and my professional experience. So just, since then, I've been able to reinvent myself. My kids are gone. My husband's not here. And I've created a new life for myself. I bought a one-way ticket to Europe for this summer, teaching 2 workshops in Barcelona, living my life and having the time of my life, having no responsibility except for myself. So it's kind of fun. And just really grateful. I'm going to be 62 next week, flying out on my birthday. And I really honestly can say, you hear it all the time, but I honestly feel better now than I did when I was in my 40s, honest to God. So here we are. And again, I can't express my gratitude enough for whoever said yes after me and said yes after them and said yes after them, and for you guys for saying yes, and who you're sharing it for too, because I should say, because we never know what's going on with somebody else that we've never even met or talked to that's on our team. So again, thank you all for that.
Oh, well, I know thank you so much for sharing that story. I know it moves, so many people, and I can just see it in people's faces when you share that, because, we never know when we're going to need to be there for ourselves, or, having this. I loved how you said it though, the best health insurance, the best life insurance policy that one can build. We often describe Isagenix as building this financial wall, this freedom around your family. And I would just just love just to, with being, you know, with Isagenix for 2002, and I know you've seen so many changes and just Isagenix and how they pour themselves and always making it better. You know, you've known Jim and Kathy, and you knew Eric Coover, I think, when he was bringing products home to kind of piss his parents off from other companies, right? Like you saw like the whole thing unfold. Just talk a little bit about Isagenix from a family standpoint of Jim and Kathy and Eric Coover, and legacy wise, and just really a little bit about knowing them so well personally.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. I'm just, you know, calculating the math now. I mean, I've known Eric for 15 years and known him since he was about 15 years old. So it was before he was even bringing product home for his mom. Jim and Kathy became fast friends. My husband and I stayed at their house. I remember Kathy giving us a tour around her house, and Eric was a teenager in his room with his music blaring, you know, laying sprawled out on his bed saying, "Get out of my room!" And I still tease him about that. And of course, you know, becoming very good friends with John and Cher Anderson, our founder and formulator. And so I've had the pleasure of being in their home, at their dinner table, in his lab, watching products being formulated, you know, being privy to information before other people. And I'm not saying that, you know, to brag or anything, but really to be able to stand here and say, watching this company grow and knowing, you know, back in the day when Kathy was, you know, there were two people. There was one guy in IT. The IT was a little closet, literally, with a couple of computers and one guy. And formulation was going on in the one building. And Jim and Kathy shared an office because John Anderson had the bigger office. We were boxing up product in that same space. Nothing like we have now. And Kathy literally didn't sleep at night then, and she doesn't sleep at night now. Nothing's changed in 15 years as far as that goes. As far as integrity goes, these people, all of them, Eric, Kathy, Jim, John Anderson, Cher Anderson, their integrity, I got goosebumps, for our product, for where they're going with our company, for where we've come from. I've never seen anything like it in any business anywhere, network marketing or otherwise. And I've been around, you know, a while, and I've seen a lot of things. And especially watching from the beginning, when our first summer splash was what we call celebration. Now we have 18,000 people coming. And in that day, we just broke 100 people, and nobody knew what was going on. I mean, nobody had a clue. A bunch of people came, brought some friends. Our first top achievers, quote unquote, Kathy knows the number. I think there were like 80 people in the room. Rhonda Collier, me, Ellen Bradley, Lenny Evans, and Susan Sly were invited guests of people who brought us. We just went because we were getting this free trip to Arizona, and we were going to go see this office. We were all kind of using the product and didn't know what was going on. And we sat in this room with a bunch of people. Jimmy Smith was there, but we didn't know, none of us knew anything. It was our first event. And that was our first top achievers. We were just learning about what was going on. And so again, watching the growth, watching how everybody, just even in the field, you know, Lenny and Kathy, Susan and Rhonda and Ellen and even myself, all of us just having transformed so much over the years because of this company and what it's offered and the doors that it's opened beyond just product and financial freedom. I've never seen anything like it anywhere. I really haven't. And when I talk with Jim and Kathy, when I go, you know, I get sent to corporate every like 2 or 3 times a year to talk about children's products in the book and just different things for kids. And I watch now with all the new people that are involved and the new staff that's there. And they embody what Jim and Kathy started. They embody what John and Cher believe as far as product goes. So in that sense, nothing's changed and everything's changed. It's all for the better.
And, you know, I know too, just with the movement that you've seen, right? The younger generation, I know your daughter Journey, and, you know, she's a Start ambassador, and she's building, you know, a 6-figure business and a team, and just really seeing that younger generation. What is it that you feel like too, just really ignite? I mean, obviously Eric Coover came in, and, you know, the Start movement happened in his vision to ignite all young people. What really have you seen kind of with that, seeing that kind of form and develop?
Well, can I tell you a secret about that?
Yes.
Inside info of what happened. So my daughter, there were 3 young people in the company at the time. All the rest of us were old. There were 3 young people: Jim Rhodes' son and daughter, and my daughter. And that was pretty much it, who were of age legally to use the product at the time. And so Journey, everyone was coming to Journey because she was always on stage. She was training. She was the one that was, up front, if you will. And people were always asking her, like, what do you say to young people? Because we don't know what to say. And so she was always being asked to be on calls, and she was overwhelmed with that. And we realized we needed something for young people, because young people were asking questions. So we had a meeting with Kathy at the time, and Kathy said, well, there's nobody in the company who's going to sponsor this. Nobody's interested. And we really don't think it's going to fly. But you can have something, we'll call it Gen XY. Journey, you can head it up, but you've got to find someone from corporate who will sponsor you or make sure, everything's compliant and everything. She couldn't find anybody. Everyone was too busy. No one was interested. They weren't going to touch it. No one believed in it. So I said to Kathy Coover, I said, look, I'll monitor it. You can trust me. I'll be right there, and I'll make sure it's all compliant. I'll be on every call. I'll be the silent listener, and I'll report back to you. Well, that was okay. So we did that for a while, and Journey was the head and founder, if you will, of Gen XY. And then Eric came in, and there was, that transition for Eric. So Journey always teases Eric. They've got a little, she's careful about it because, it's Eric's baby. There's no doubt. It's Eric's baby for sure. And he's done miraculous things with this company and the Start Group. I give Eric all that credit, but it's just fun to know that, Journey kind of started that. So she'll give him a little riff every once in a while. It's been a beautiful thing to watch how fast. I think a lot of it's happened with we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have, as I said, we hardly had a back office when we first got it. We did our first home parties. We had nobody to call. There were a few people who aren't in the company anymore because they're not even alive. They've passed away, who were our leaders that we did 3-way calls with. My 3-way calls were a few people in my living room with Jack Kathy Coover on speakerphone. We didn't have cell phones. Kathy was on the speakerphone for my house. Couldn't even get it very loud because you couldn't buy, amplified anything. And John Anderson, and we'd have these long conversations about product because that's all we talked about. So again, watching the evolution, watching the takeover really of what's happened with Start it's beyond amazing, and it's just beginning. It's just beginning.
I know we're just opening up in the UK. I mean, it's so exciting when I hear the stories about where Isagenix is going, and how they're planning. I love the legacy company that's just getting started. It's like just getting momentum. It's just so awesome to be a part of it, and just so grateful for people, like you that have been in there and that, stuck around when, you didn't have labels on the products and were showing up. I mean, I feel like we have it so easy when I hear some of the stories, so anytime or I think I want to complain or I hear a complaint and I just think back to some of the stories that you guys, I'm like, man, whoo, we've got it made. Like we get PIBs.
Double PIBs.
Oh, right. Leadership pools, cycle bonuses, crystals, like all of that stuff for that upfront money.
All bonus, all that stuff.
All of it. We had Rhonda share not too long ago, and she really moved a lot of people. Like she moved people. I mean, I was getting message after message, and she shared her story about not being the person that you might see, climb super fast. We all see these people, we've seen people like, gosh, Laura Stevens, who just has come in and just skyrockets up, and you just look at her and you've got, my gosh, she's amazing. But if I don't go that fast, and I'm not, so we see these just incredible leaders come in that just go skyrocket. Just what have you seen though with just perseverance and people that, have been in the company and that stay in the game, or that might go through those leaps and, downs and valleys, and what could you say to somebody that might feel like that they're not going fast enough, or they're in a comparison mode, or just that power of perseverance?
I'm going to be really transparent, Casey, and I'm going to share with you guys my own truth. So you and a lot of people on this team have totally gone beyond what I've done. I am a 6-star Golden Circle, 1-star Crystal Executive. And I'm still the 39th millionaire, and I've still had all the success and continue to have more success. Casey, you've exceeded, what I do financially. Rhonda has exceeded what I do financially. That's a choice, though. I took a lot of time off when my husband died, and then I went and traveled, and I was living in Belize and living in different places, and just kind of, I kept my business alive, but I wasn't nose to the grindstone, making calls on I wasn't doing all that. I was doing 3-way calls. I was coaching my team. I was still there, but I wasn't 100% in the game. And, you know, I'm still able to buy a one-way ticket to Europe, and I know I'll be back in time for celebration. And, you know, there I go. So it's not, and I've seen that. I've seen people, you know, Lynn Hagedorn came in and she did it in 14 months or something like that and broke all records for the company. There are, I really believe that there are certain personality types. There are personality types that are going to persevere no matter what. They're playing at their A game all the time. It's how they live their lives. They're organized. They want to play at the top. They're competitive, not in a negative way. They just, even with their own selves. And there's different personalities, and we have to be able to really understand. It's not just a color code. It's different personalities, different things going on in people's lives. And what does success mean? Success for me may mean something different for you or somebody else on the call, right? Or anybody listening. So, and honoring people where they're at. And it's not a race. Unless you have your own personal race, for whatever your reason is, that's cool. But it's not a race to see how fast you can get anywhere. It's how many lives we can touch, how many relationships we can form. This is relationship marketing, not get marketing. And so, you know, how many people, I've had so many people say, Andrea, you know, I've heard everything you said. I've watched the videos. I'm just doing this because I trust you. I hear that all the time. I trust you. Well, why do they trust me? Because I'm not trying to get anybody. I've never tried to get, in the beginning, I tried to get people until I quickly learned, first of all, it doesn't work. I don't want to be gotten. And that's not the way to do it anyway. So, you know, being okay with where you're at as well. And if you want to fast track it, go for it. If it's a slow process and you've got a gazillion kids and your life is busy and you've got 3 jobs and you can only do what you can only do, awesome. Decide what it is you can do. I've got 1 hour on Saturday, and that's really all I can give to Isagenix right now. Go for it. Spend an hour on Saturday. If it's 15 minutes every night when the kids are asleep, do that. But make your commitment, make it clear what you can do realistically in your life. You know, when I enroll people, I say, well, so, you know, if they're talking about wanting to share, so what's your goal? What's your personal goal? What are you wanting to achieve and by when? Well, I want to be Isagenix Millionaire. Well, great. Just like a baby, you got to crawl before you walk. You know, and you're going to probably fall before you run. And so let's do this one step at a time. Let's get you to consultant. And then let's get you to manager and director and executive. And let's help you build rank that way. And let's follow the steps because that's duplicatable. And even Lynn Hagedorn, when she did it fast, she had a plan. She was very clear. She just go, I'm going to be a millionaire in 14 months and just do it. There's a plan. There's a system. And it's there for us.
I love it. You're getting a lot of love on that. Well, with that guy, I mean, anything that comes to your heart and you want to share. I want to bring Shanna on right now. And Shanna, she is just so many, but you guys know her. You see that system behind her right now that so many of us have asked about and used. And she's a master. She's a homeschooling mom, and you know, also her husband Joe's chiropractor, and you know, they live the life of wellness. When I went and stayed in their home, I mean, just how she cooks for her family, the juicing. I mean, you know, the kids look at pomegranate. I think I'm saying that right. You know, and it's like that's dessert, and I mean, they're so excited to get some fruit like for dessert. So I mean, like they follow health, they walk the talk, and they have just. You guys are top consistent enrollers. You know, I know you and Joe build a little bit differently. You guys do team up and build, but I would love for you to come on and really speak from a mom standpoint to Andrea and ask her just anything, just as far as, you know, just product wise, nutrition with the kids and moms and balancing and whatnot, because we just have her time and we want to utilize it. So Shanna, you are unmuted, and Andrea is still unmuted also. So
yeah. How's everybody? Andrea, I'm so excited that I feel like I have your undivided attention. I have this. I think this was one of the first things that I ever got when Casey said personal growth and development. Like this was what I turned to for personal growth and development. This is Andrea's book, if you've never seen it, Healthy Moms and Kids, and it has a lot of great tips and ideas for raising healthy kids and a healthy family, and this is awesome. So I appreciate you being on the call, Andrea. I've lost
Thank
some.
you.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I had a couple questions that I wrote down, some personal, but I think that other people could probably relate to them as well. I have 3 kids, and one of them does not like the shakes. Okay. And so the Isagenix products are real important in my house. And so I want him to like the shakes because I know how good they are for him. I don't know if there's anybody else out there who has kids who don't want the shakes. This one's kind of a foodie himself, so he would rather have a hot meal. So how do you get a child like that who doesn't really like the shakes to enjoy them?
That's a great question. Great question. So there's a couple ways you can do that. One is you can, especially this also works for children who have learning challenges and have sensitive palates. You can disguise the shake and just don't let them know. You do lose some of the qualities, like if you make it into a pancake batter or something like that. But you can disguise it. Just again, don't tell them, because sometimes there's just issues about control in there as well. And just because mom and dad like it, or mommy and my brothers and sisters like it, I'm not going to. And that's just, not all children are created equal. So we have to honor that, or you're going to start World War II and create those battles with your children that are going to lead into the teenage years, which we want to try to avoid. So again, disguising it and not letting them know. The other thing is just make it fun. When we say to our kids, look, I know the health, however you say it, right? I know the health benefits. This is going to make you think better in school, or be in a better mood, or this is what we do in our family and you've got to do it. If there's a kid who's not compliant with that, one of the things you can also do is to say, well, you know what? Instead of saying I brought this healthy thing home, just say, I've got this new smoothie, or I've got a new smoothie flavor. Yeah, we just got this peach mango flavor. And I want to know, can you tell me if it's good or not? Don't say I like it and your brother likes it. Can you tell me if it's good or not? And your kids can either say yeah or no. If they say yeah, you give them a taste and you wait and see. And if they say no, then you just say, okay, cool, no problem. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. If they say yeah and they're willing to try, or they say, ew, I don't like it, just because they're being a kid, they're that's their job description, is to sometimes be ornery and rebellious. I don't like it. Then make it fun. Say, well, you know what? What do you think we could put in this that would make it taste better? And play around. You can do this with a 2-year-old, and you can do this with a 20-year-old. And you just say, what do you think would make it better? And wait for them to give you some answers. And if they don't have answers, then be stupid, silly, and say, what about if we put in mud or rocks or worms? And if they say, yeah, let's do it, I recommend, based on your own kid and your own, what you're feeling like you want to do, take a small amount of shakes, you're not wasting a lot, and go dig up those damn worms and put them in the shake and mix it up gross and say, okay, who's going first? Your kid's going to think you're nuts, but make it fun and go, oh, there's no way I'm doing this one. I totally get why you don't want to drink this shake. And let it go. Right? So you're not being that parent that's saying, you've got to take this. I'm going to pay you if you take it. That's creating food issues when we start paying our kids and bribing our kids around food. So you either make it fun and you make it silly. You work with your child understanding their psychology, not so much what your need is for them, but what their need is for themselves, where they're at. And again, if there's a child with learning challenges who has that sensitive palate, or just, sensitive palate in general, then just slip it in somewhere else. And if you can't slip in the shake, slip in, slip in the greens, or slip in something, at least something, and be patient. We find, and I know mommies, you know this, the more you back off, the more they come forward. Yeah. The more we push, the more they pull away. That's kind of age-old trick. And one more thing about that, you can also make cookies. Have any of you made cookies with the shake?
No.
Okay, so you can make, there's a couple things you can do. You can make pudding, and you don't put in ice, you put in a little bit of water, and you make it really thick, and you make chocolate pudding. Add fruit add nuts, and let your kid throw it in there if you want, or just don't even tell them it's the shake and make pudding. Go to Whole Foods and buy a bottle of organic liquid stevia. Don't use the powder stuff, and don't use Truvia or any of those other things because they're not real. Use organic liquid stevia. It comes in different flavors. It's about $14.99 a bottle. It's expensive, but it lasts you forever, and it really sweetens things up. Great for baking with too. It won't affect your glycemic level, won't affect, anything, won't affect your weight issues or anything like that. So you can use that to sweeten it up for your kids if they're used to having more sugar in their diet. So you can make pudding. You can also make Isa cream. The recipe's in my book. Lots of less water, lots of ice. Play with it to get the consistency. I do that a lot. My evening shake is often Isa cream, and I eat it with a spoon. I'll put in a little bit of organic liquid stevia if I'm wanting something sweeter. And just the plain whatever shake, I eat it with a spoon, and I feel like I'm eating ice cream, so I feel like I'm cheating. Mm-hmm. And it's just a psychological thing, but our kids respond to that. Cookies, freezer cookies. Oh my gosh. My experience, the best shake for freezer cookies is the Venus shake. You can get it in your back office. John Gray helped with John Anderson to create the Mars Venus line. And there's a Mars shake and a Venus shake. Very similar in content. It's a different flavor chocolate. The Mars shake has a little more protein. The Venus shake has a little more fat. Good fat, healthy for women, even if you're wanting to release weight. But that particular one, the Venus shake, in my experience, makes the best cookies. You can play around. Freezer cookies, simple. 2 scoops, 1 tablespoon of organic coconut oil, the white stuff, organic coconut oil. Put in enough hot water just to melt the coconut oil and make it like a thick cookie batter. It's really thick. Stir it up. If you want to add liquid stevia, if you want to add strawberries, raspberries, pine nuts, whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But you can use the plain stuff, the plain 2 scoops with a little bit of coconut oil. Stir it up, get some wax paper, put it on your cookie sheet, drop the cookies onto the cookie sheet, put it in the freezer for 15 minutes, and you will have fudge cookies like you won't believe. And you can give those to your kids after dinner and say, hey, you want to eat the whole thing? You can have the whole batch of cookies. Don't tell them what you did. And when you're having your shake, if you feel like, oh my God, I can't get through another shake, I don't know what I'm going to do, make a batch of cookies and eat the whole darn thing.
I love that.
The big kids on here taking notes.
Yeah, I got lots of, I've forgotten about those freezer cookies. And I think there are quite a few of us who probably either don't know or forget about the Mars Venus product. So that's something good to know, that the Mars Venus shakes actually have more fat, which are probably really good for the kids.
And for women.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I was thinking, I have my oldest one, he has a shot glass of shake every day now, because I asked him, can you drink this? And he said, I don't think so. And I said, if you had to drink a certain amount, how much could you drink? And he said, this much. So I got him his own shot glass at Celebration last year, and he does a shot of shake a day. That's all I can get out of him. Thank you.
And that's it. And don't try to push anymore. If one day he asks for more, or he sneaks some more, no big deal. Just don't even make a big, it's like, cool. You can even say, do you want a second shot at some point? He'll either say yes or no, and you got to have no response. They can read our responses when we're not responding, right?
Right.
So be really careful with that one.
Right. Especially the girls.
Good idea, though. I love that. Good for you.
Well, I have another question for you too. This is Isagenix related a little bit, but more health and nutrition related. I know Lindsay and I had a conversation about this last week about our kids and making changes. And I have a lot of moms who ask me, I know we need to make changes in our health and our nutrition for the kids, and they don't know where to start. And I think back to, my husband being a chiropractor, we went through a whole journey with that, a whole health journey. And then when our son was born, and we wanted to do things right by him, so it was really easy to take, we didn't really have to take things away because we never really introduced them. So I think when your kids have been introduced to certain things, maybe fruit juices and processed snacks and boxed, foods, that it's harder to take that away because that's what they're accustomed to. So where would you recommend moms or dads start? I know small changes are best, but where would you recommend them starting? Because taking away things from your kids is really hard to do when they are used to having.
It's the worst thing to do. You know, when you tell a kid no, they have a fit. And I know, you know, sometimes that's okay, but we don't want to make issues around food, and Isagenix is food. So we want to be careful with creating, you know, issues where kids are going to start rebelling against food and creating their own eating disorders. And also, I just want to say before I directly answer that question, when we're on the phone talking to potential, you know, customers, we want to be careful when we're talking about weight and looks and issues around our body, because our children are in the other room, and even though we think they're far away or they're sleeping or they're not listening, mommy, as you know, their ears can hear everything, and they take stuff in when we think they're not. So, you know, what do you want your child to believe about their own body? If you're always talking about losing weight, firming up, gotta have abs, whatever, we want our kids to think about health, whole health, as opposed to weight loss, fitting into my size 2s, right? So with that said, I'm a real proponent of family meetings, and family meetings being fun. Not every family meeting and you can do it with a 3-year-old, not every family meeting being a big freaking issue that we got to talk about, you know, and work things out. Sometimes it's as simple as just, you know, let's have a family meeting and all share our favorite thing from this past week. Simple meeting, you know, or let's have a family meeting, whatever, let's do it, you know, as we run through the sprinklers in the backyard on a hot day, and we can just do whatever. So it's not always like, oh no, a family meeting. It's like when you say to your partner, I need to talk to you. Oh, man, what's going on? Right? A family meeting, and then you can say to your kid, be upfront about it if you want. You know, I've done some research and I found that feel felt found. We ought to do that with other people. Let's do it with our families. I found that I, as a mom, have made a few mistakes here. And I brought some food into the house that I know we all love, not you love, because then you're pointing the finger, that we all love. And I found out that it's not so good for us. And I'm not sure what to do. What do you think we should do?
Right.
You know, ask, any kid can answer. And some kid, you know, I've seen little 3-year-olds, you've probably seen videos of them, they start crying. You can't take away my Cheerios. No. It's like, okay, we're not going to take them away, but what can we do instead if we didn't have them anymore? And make it simple, easy, not something they take to bed worrying about, because that's going to be important to them. And just find out, again, playful, humor, lighthearted, and then say, what if we had to change, not take away, because none of us want to have anything taken away. If we had to change one thing that's in our pantry for something even better, what would we choose first? And if your kid says, I don't know, then you offer 3 things. Don't ever offer more than 3, because it's overwhelming even to a teenager. If we had to choose between the Fritos, the Twinkies, and the, you know, I don't know, Pop-Tarts or whatever, which one could we do better with, do you think? It's a conversation. It's communication. That's what it's all about. In any relationship, why would we do it different with our child? Think about the relationship you have with your partner or your best friend, and think about if you were, you know, someone was telling you that, okay, you know, we're going to take, we need to look at, you know, your shoe closet now, and there's only room for 5 pair of shoes, and we're going to have to eliminate a few here because whatever weird reason. Which one would we change for maybe a smaller pair? I don't know, something. You know what I'm saying? It's a conversation. Unless you're doing an intervention, that's a whole other story. But we don't always want to be doing interventions with our kids, because they'll just go, I can't hear you anymore. And then they're teenagers and they're going, no, I'm not listening. So what you do now is what you're setting up for the future as well.
Yeah, I know I'm at fault to say, nope, I'm not buying any junk. Nope, no more junk. I mean, I play that mom role a little too well when it comes to.
Well, we do have to set boundaries, and we do have to be clear, and that's, you know, that is our role. But instead of saying, no, I'm not buying any junk anymore, it's like, what can we buy that's different, more, better, different? Mm-hmm. What can we do that's healthier than that bar? Or you want that bar on the shelf? They may not want Isagenix bar, but what would you be open to trying a new one? I found this new one that somebody gave me a sample of, and I'm not sure if I like it. I'd love your opinion. Mm-hmm. I love it, but don't tell them that.
Right.
it's getting the buy-in. It's just, again, playful. Be playful and a little more lighthearted when you can. It's about picking your battles.
I love that. Thank you, Andrea.
The other thing, one more thing, about picking your battles. An unmade bed never killed anybody. So again, picking your battles. What is important when you have to say no? What is important for, safety and health and all of that? And then the other stuff,
let it go.
Work with that.
Right. Exactly. I have another question, Casey. I don't know how we're with time.
It's completely up. We'll take all the time we can get.
My favorite subject.
Okay.
Heck with packing.
Well, I know the answers are in this book, but I also know that not everybody has this book. And I think this is a question that a lot of us have asked each other because we're not quite sure. There's a little misinformation out there, and I just kind of wanted to get things cleared up. What are the products that are safe for pregnant and nursing moms? Because I wasn't sure about greens at some point. I wasn't sure about fruits. And so I think some of us, might want to get some clarification on that.
Right. So I'm going to tell you where you can find that information so you don't have to take frantic notes. Go to isagenixhealth.net, put pregnancy and breastfeeding, or pregnancy, either one, pregnancy and breastfeeding in the search box. And my latest article that was done last year, May 2016, will come up. And that will have all the information of what pregnant and nursing moms can use and can't use.
So that's the one we should go by, not anything that we've seen in the past. Okay.
Actually, I think it was 2016, if I'm not mistaken, but it's the most recent one.
Okay.
A lot of my articles are still there. So just look at the most recent one, and that will give you the list. Now, as far as that list goes, so fruits are fine. Pregnant and nursing fruits are fine. What happened with greens is, this is really controversial, so I have to be careful. I have to be really compliant how I talk about this. Because the FTC has cracked down on network marketing, and you guys, some of you probably have known that a lot of companies have been under the gun and some companies have been closed, and it's been not such a good situation for other companies. Isagenix goes above and beyond keeping us safe and keeping our companies safe. And so sometimes they will do things from a compliance standpoint that is above and beyond, with our best interest at heart. Certainly not to harm us, or they've never taken anything away. In 15 years, they've never taken. In fact, they put $20 million in front of our comp plan. They're just constantly enhancing and giving us more, and free shipping and free enrollment this week and all of that. So they're not taken away, but it's usually a compliant issue. And we need to honor that. Now, if you choose to go to your doctor or your OB and you say, here's this, I would like you to monitor me while I'm on it, because you have to remember, medical doctors don't study nutrition in medical school. They literally get about 30 minutes, and then the rest, they don't study it. They don't actually even study natural childbirth. They study all the interventions. So my first 3 books were on natural childbirth. That's a whole other conversation. I was a midwife back in the 70s. So back on track here. What was I saying? So if you're having them check the product, and let's just say that your doctor or your OB says, hey, you can use this, it's okay. Please, I beg you, do not post it on social media. Do not make up a new flyer that says you can do this for pregnant and breastfeeding mommies, and don't start even having conversations with your friends and saying, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but, because you know what happens with that telephone game. And we want to honor our company. We don't want to be that company that's under the gun, or that's shut down, or products are literally taken away because they've been deemed not safe by the FTC, who doesn't know what they're talking about all the time. So if you receive some information, that's your information. I just urge you to hold on to it. Is that hard? Is it not fair? Yes, yes, yes. It's really tricky. When we know Isagenix can do this, this, and this, and we can't say it, it's harder than heck to hold that back. Find a compliant way. Just say, go check with your doctor. And then nobody's liable.
I love that. Just go check with your doctor. That keeps everybody safe. Well, oh my gosh, I just am so grateful. I'm so grateful that you said yes, you know. Oh my gosh. And that John Gray, like, it's just the way that it trickles down. You guys, we all have this gift, this Isagenix gift for ourselves, for our families, for kids, spouses, loved ones, parents. You know, I always think of Isagenix as something, when I think just about how consumable it is, from, you know, pregnant and breastfeeding moms to using it to, you know, the elderly, maybe somebody, you know, that's on their deathbed, just for nutrition, you know, in their bodies, and just, you know, all the different stages of life. So just so grateful to John Anderson and Jim and Kathy and Eric, and again, just everyone like you, Andrea. Thank you for just pouring your heart and soul into the company, and for just bringing all of that knowledge that you have, and just pouring it into Isagenix, and doing the things like the articles for us all to have and to use. And I mean, you have blown me away. That what I learned, I mean, on dryer sheets alone, when I've seen you speak. I don't know if that's a whole nother conversation, right? Like how many hours could we have? But you have just blessed so many of us, and we're just so grateful for you. Have so much fun in Europe, you know. And I loved what you said too, just about, you know, whatever it is for each individual's goals and what it is that they want, you know, for their life, and however much time we have, just, you know, get serious about that and devote that time. Is there anything that's on your heart that you want to leave us with, or any last words of wisdom?
I do, actually. I was just realizing my daughter's on a plane to London right now as we speak, and we're meeting in Spain next week. And you know, it's been amazing to create this relationship with my children in Isagenix, and with the family. Talk about legacy. You know, creating this fun and this freedom to be able to travel together and enjoy each other's company is pretty special. And so, you know, encouraging that with your children. Don't be that dogmatic parent that uses Isagenix. There are other things you have to be really forceful about. I know this is important for our health and their health as well. Be gentle with them as far as that's concerned. And I just want to say, you know, I always like to end with this. We have such a gift, guys. I know you've heard this before, but Isagenix really is. John Anderson said when he developed it, it was divinely inspired. It really was. It came to him in a message that he needed to do this. And the way it's unfolded over all these years, I really believe that things unfold easily and effortlessly when they're meant to be. And there's a divine guidance in all of it. And there's divine guidance right here with all of us. And, you know, downline, upline, sideline, we're all in this together. We have a gift. And I really believe it is our responsibility to share this with as many people as we can. And don't hold back. And again, it's not about getting people or rank advancing for yourself, because the more we give, we all know the more we receive. And so the more people you share it with, it's going to come back. It's going to come back. And it's okay if you're not millionaire, not, you know, not 2 millionaire, number 200 and whatever, or you're a 1-star and you're not a 5-star yet. It's okay. It's a process. It's a step-by-step process. And there's, you know, we always say Isagenix is a personal growth system with a compensation plan attached. It's all part of the process. And there's a time and a season for everything. And they make it so easy for us right now. So just talk to as many people as you can, share it as comfortably as you can, come from your heart. I did a CD many years ago. It's not available anymore. It was called Networking by Heart, 7 steps, 7 secrets to your Isagenix success. And it was in the early days when, you know, people didn't know what to do. And it was like literally 7 steps. And it's everything we already know. There's nothing secret about that, except stay in your heart. Stay in your heart and treat your children the way you would want someone to treat you if you were in the same situation.
Thank you so much. Being on this journey with your family is such a gift. I'm able to be on it with my mom and my sister. My mommy's on right now. So no greater gift than that. Thank you so much, Shanna, for your amazing questions. I know all the moms receive so much. Andrea, again, thank you so much. I'm sure we're going to bring you back on. I'm sure more questions, but I've just been getting message after message of just how amazing this call is. So thank you so much. Have so much fun in Europe. I'm going to unmute us all so we can all just shout out and say thank you. All right, guys.
Dana, thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
Anytime. I'm happy to
I'll put the link for the book, you guys, and the article along with this recording in the group. So
the book's not available right now. We're on last re-edits of it, and it'll be available at Celebration, a whole kind of new version of it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we'll see you at Celebration. Have fun in Europe.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Shana.
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah.